What's up, Hoosiers? Welcome to Crimson Chats with Dr. Hylton, the podcast where we spotlight the real student experience right here at Indiana University, Bloomington. Whether you're walking to class, studying at Wells, grabbing a coffee at the IMU, or taking a much-needed mental health stroll through Dunn Meadow, this podcast is for you. Here on Crimson Chats, we're talking about academics, leadership, wellness, traditions, innovation, and yes, school spirit, because being a Hoosier is more than just attending classes. It's about community. And today, we are diving into something that impacts every student on this campus, well-being, and how we take care of ourselves while balancing leadership, academics, and life at IU. And I am so excited for today's conversation because I'm joined by two phenomenal student leaders who are doing meaningful work to support well-being across our campus in different ways. I am going to have them introduce themselves to us. I will start with Grace.
Hello, my name is Grace Mangan. I am a senior. I am a double major in psychology and counseling, and I have a minor in kinesiology.
And what do you do on campus, Grace?
Yes, I have worked for intramural sports the past 4 years here.
Awesome. Shout out to Rec Sports.
Oh, yeah.
And Chris. What's up, Chris?
What's up? Alrighty, so my name is Christopher Buck. I'm a senior studying integrated business and media entertainment management with the triple minor in African American diaspora studies, financial literacy, and marketing. On campus, I serve as the president of Black Men Evolve and the co-founder and student advisor for Noir, the Creative Guild.
So you're not busy at all. You're not busy at all. Chris and Grace, welcome to Crimson Chats. I'm so glad y'all are here. Thanks for spending some time with us today. Let's start with some real talk. Student leaders are often seen as people who have it all together, right? But we know that that's not the case. From your perspectives, what does student well-being actually look like day to day? I'll start with you, Chris.
I would say for me, and I think I'm just now figuring this out my senior year, is really just kind of making sure I take care of myself to ensure that I can kind of work at like my 100% and maximize my capacity. So just kind of what that means is like, I know for me, like I can go Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, school, class, organization, events, supporting all this stuff. I'm like, but once that Thursday comes, I need a day to myself. I need to be able to go home and just rest and just kind of lay in bed for a couple hours and just kind of have that space for myself to just kind of just be and just kind of rest and be intentional about resting. So I would say that's something of well-being looks like for me. And I'll say that has worked for me because it's like now without usually what I've done in the past is like just kind of burn myself out throughout the semester, throughout the week, throughout the day, just be on go, go, go. But actually taking that time out for myself and being intentional about that time for myself and kind of being selfish with it, it kind of allows me to kind of take that time and then kind of rejoice, reset, and then kind of be able to kind of give back and keep going after that.
Yeah, that pouring into yourself before you pour into others is so important. Grace, what about you? What does well-being look like day to day for you?
Yeah, I'm going to bounce off of some of Chris's ideas here because I'm kind of the same way. I feel like after I started my freshman year, I felt like I had to do it all. I had to try everything. I kind of realized, I'm only here for 4 years, so I need to make the most of my time. And I quickly learned that's totally not obtainable. I felt very burnt out and I wasn't taking time for myself, and that was kind of ruining the experience for me. So very quickly, I established an hour a day, whether that's going to the gym, reading a book, scrolling on my phone, something that would calm me down, make me feel better. And that's kind of how I was able to still enjoy the things that I signed up for and all the things that I tried. And yeah, that's kind of how I established my well-being routine.
Yeah, those routines are so important. And I don't think we give enough credence to how important those, personal routines are. Those little moments of, stealing away and getting your nap on or just kind of being to yourselves and how that kind of rejuvenates you to go out and do the things that you're wanting to do more publicly. And here at IU, there is a lot to juggle for you all as students, right? Classes, leadership, work, social life. Where do you feel pressure the most as students and as leaders, and how does that pressure show up for you all every day?
Yeah. So as I mentioned before, I've worked for intramural sports like the past 4 years. I started as an official and slowly worked my way up. And I've served in my program assistant role for 2 years now. And just as a student leader, I've felt pressure to like speak up for other students within the program and try to like, I guess, express their concerns and frustrations and feedback. I see that every day to day, like trying to balance that work-life balance, trying to still, prioritize my time outside of work, not talk about work with my friends that like are my coworkers. So to, I guess, like work through that, I've definitely, set some boundaries, established that outside of work, we're here to have fun, and not talk about all of our frustrations.
Yeah, Chris.
I would say with me, it's always kind of like a balance or imbalance really of things. So like if I'm doing well in my social life, my academics, it's probably like I'm kind of falling short on the extracurricular side, or vice versa. Like if I'm doing good on that academics, I'm probably falling short in the social life. So it's really just kind of a balance. That kind of goes back to like that rest question, but just kind of more aligned with your question, like the pressure points. I would say definitely just going off what she said, just kind of being a leader. With me, like I really am like passionate about like being involved within my community here at IU. So a lot of the times, like I feel the pressure of just kind of trying to make the change and trying to be quick on my feet and always trying to, keep up with the times and everything that's going on, things like that. Always kind of being quick on my feet and change and help other people and making sure I'm doing, kind of my duty as a leader, as a activist, just a student even, just kind of doing that, making a change. But on the other side, also being a student, sometimes it's like it's final season. I have presentations. I created my own major. So I just really had to, these last few weeks have just me been working on my final project, writing papers and things like that. So it's just like I fall short in other aspects. And then even in the social life side. So sometimes like the community part is really big here at IU or just college in general. If you don't have a community, then it's really hard to kind of succeed in anything else you do. So it's like sometimes that kind of falls short. And I'm like, I need time to spend time with my friends, or I don't see my friends as much. So I'm not really in the best mood. So sometimes it's just kind of really an imbalance of what kind of takes priority in the time or in the moment.
Yeah. So what helps? So you talked about the pressures, both of you, in very different ways. What are some practices or routines or habits that support your own individual mental health and well-being? You talked about them a little bit earlier, but maybe expound upon them and maybe talk about also how they've evolved since you've arrived. Both of you are seniors. Shout out to the seniors getting ready to graduate here soon. So how have your practices evolved since you got here to IU?
I would just say kind of learning myself, just kind of understanding like what works and what doesn't. I know for me, like now, like I really just kind of learn like me being a creative person, like me kind of, if I'm in a moment of my life where I'm kind of out of the creative zone, it's like kind of stepping back into that. So like what I really like to do is either kind of read or just kind of draw or just kind of take time to kind of focus on my passions outside of all my other obligations. Like I feel like it's the college culture, just kind of the hustle culture itself. It's like everything you got to do, it has to be optimized or monetized or for a purpose. And I just kind of like doing stuff just because I like doing it. So I would say that's the big thing, is just kind of doing whatever just kind of makes me feel good. It makes me happy.
Yeah. What about you, Grace?
Yeah, I would say I'm pretty stubborn and a perfectionist. So when it came to like making mistakes or feeling overwhelmed, I like really internalized a lot of that at first. And I was also like super involved in high school and always busy, and I felt like I had to bring that to college too. I had to always be doing something. So really learning how to lean on my community that I kind of found freshman year, and my friends, my family really helped me to feel comfortable in, the things I would mess up on or the things that I didn't know how to do, and just really finding ways to kind of express myself in that way and not internalize it, because it builds up pretty quickly.
Yeah, that's really insightful that you all have found these creative ways and also have been open to kind of that evolution over the times as your work lives or your academic lives or your extracurricular lives continue to evolve. You too have evolved your own kind of practices in making sure that you're taking care of yourself. I think that's really, really important. So let's transition. So each of you is shaping the student experience in different ways through your actual roles. So Grace, you working for 4 years in the rec center, and Chris, you as the leader of Black Men Evolve and a founder of a student organization focused on the Black experience here at IU. How do you intentionally bring wellness and care or community into the organizations or work that you do? And what does that look like for you in practice? I'll start with Grace.
Yeah. So working with intramurals, I quickly found my community and my friends there. So I think early on I learned that I had a strong passion for creating a good culture and sense of community. I think like through the academics and the things that I've been learning in class, like I was able to kind of apply some of the things to like make team activities or we tried this. We have BOS teams, like all of our supervisors work together and it's like a friendly competition to get everyone involved. We tried huddles where we wanted our officials to be like more involved with our supervisors and just really have that sense of family within our intramural sports team. So I've learned a lot about myself that like I can bring towards my career. Like having a strong culture and foundation within the group that you're working with is so important. I feel like that's step one to like learning similar goals and just creating a good team.
Yeah.
For me, I just kind of want to preface it like with a little background. So I came into IU. I'm a first generation college student. I'm from South Bend, Indiana. So I kind of came from my hometown coming into IU. I didn't really know much people where I lived at. There were many people who looked like me, had the same, passions and interests and things like me. So I was really kind of isolated when I first got here in terms of like the school I was in, where I lived at and things like that. So a big thing for me was just kind of finding community for myself. And the first place I kind of found that was like the Neil Marshall Black Culture Center. I was a freshman rep for the Black Student Union. So just kind of getting involved with that. And me, I'm just like a learner. I'm an observer. So I just kind of saw how, that kind of those spaces and things like that created community for other people, but also created community for myself. And it like solved the issue in a way. Like it kind of, helped me find that community, me being involved in things like that. It helped me find that community and indirectly kind of helped me succeed here at IU. So just kind of circling back, I try to follow that same way of what I learned and just kind of be that mentor or that leader for, people who were in my shoes or looking for that space or looking for that community. So specifically like for Black Men Evolve, it's like one of our pieces of our mission statement is bringing unity amongst Black men. So that's just kind of creating the space for Black men. We touch on, professional development, personal growth, and all those different types of things. But another piece of it is just kind of bringing unity amongst Black men. So just kind of bringing space, having a space for Black men. Black students only represent like 4% of the population here at IU. That doesn't seem like a lot, but, there's many students who are, kind of spread throughout campus and things like that. So we just try to bring or at least create the space for everybody to come together and have that space to know that like we're kind of here for each other. If you need anything, I know times we help people get connections professionally. We have like networking sessions and things like that. We have our barbershop talks where we touch on like mental health. We just had like our week of events where it was like a fun time where we had the cookout, a silent headphone party. So just kind of having that fun as well. So just kind of just providing the space for people just to relax or just have joy or just kind of learn and kind of grow as well.
Yeah, joy. I love that. And with all that you both do in your respective areas, how do you find joy in that work? Like what brings you joy in doing the things that you do as student leaders and as students that have been here for a while now?
I would say for me, one thing I love seeing is like other people like grow within themselves, like especially being a leader and a president right now. I was really intentional about like creating leaders out of my executive board. So it's like I'm the leader, the president or whatever, but it's like I want you guys to be leaders within yourself as well. So just kind of seeing them throughout the year, seeing them grow, kind of learn themselves and grow within their own positions and find out their passions and what they like and how they want to lead. That kind of brings me joy, just kind of seeing people grow within themselves and then just kind of seeing others like have the benefit of what we do. So just when we create these spaces, people really enjoy it, and like the feedback we get, like I have fun myself, but it's like it really brings me joy when I see other people having fun or just kind of in their element.
Yeah. What about you, Grace?
Yeah, I think that sport has a super unique way of just bringing people together. Everyone's there for a shared common goal of having fun, being active, and hoping to win. And yes, sport comes with like arguments and conflict, but I feel like at the end of the day, as a student, like having that outlet to go exercise and play for fun and have something that like was a big part of your childhood, competing. I feel like that definitely brings me joy. And it's something that I like to make sure that our staff sees, that we're doing something behind the scenes that is so much bigger than ourselves. Like we have students show up who probably have had a bad day, and this is their highlight of their day. So doing little things and just having that opportunity to manage a space for students to come and enjoy themselves is what makes me joyful.
Yeah, we are talking on Crimson Chats with Dr. Hylton about student well-being from a student point of view. I have two phenomenal student leaders here, Chris Buck, president of Black Men Evolve, and Grace Mangan from the recreational sports area. So each of you have talked about some of the spaces or places or experiences that have contributed or made a difference for you. I want you to go a little deeper into that. So we have a ton of resources here. As you well know, we offer a wide range of resources to support student well-being. What resources or spaces or communities have made the difference for you? And what would you encourage other students to explore? I'll start with you, Grace.
Well, of course, I'm going to put in the shameless plug for recreational sports.
I would expect that you would.
Yeah. But like on a serious note, like as I mentioned before, found my community my first semester freshman year. And I think that my college experience would have looked completely different if I hadn't, went to a job fair and started as an official. So I would highly encourage getting a job. I think it's just a natural way to find your community that way. It's people that you're forced to work with. So it's people you can rely on and just communicate with day to day. I've also tried a dance marathon. I was with them for 2 years.
That's a good one.
That is an amazing organization, not only doing something like bigger than ourselves again, but just the people and the passion that that you share with other people. I have like chills talking about it. I wish I could have done it for longer, but yeah, they are great and the people are just phenomenal. I've also done research on campus. I feel like the sooner you can start research, the better. Shout out Hoosier Sport and Dr. Kircher. They were amazing. And I feel like starting that process early is will really contribute to your success as a student. And if that's something you want to do in your future career, it just builds those tactical skills. But yeah, I've also been the manager for the men's golf team. I feel like that was an amazing experience as well. If sports are your thing, I would just give the advice to not hesitate to reach out. IU does a great job at making things work and finding things that students can get involved in, even if it's small. So yeah, don't hesitate.
Yeah, that's great. Chris?
I would say for me, there's kind of two sides of it. So first, I'll touch on the just kind of the culture and my experience with that. I would say some of the spaces that have just kind of brought me community and my go-to spaces. First would be the Neil Marshall Black Culture Center. That was the first space I took a class in. The first space I kind of got to know when I came here to IU. Just kind of the staff. I even used to work there as a student worker. So it's and an ambassador, and I was a part of the Freshman Leadership Academy and things like that. So I've been involved with it in a few different types of ways. But yeah, so just having that community here, having those family-like, those parent-like, kind of people who are just kind of there. Anytime you need anyone to talk to kind of advocate for you, to just kind of help you along this journey here at IU, that's been amazing. I would say also, just kind of student organizations. I've been very involved my past each year with various student organizations. So just kind of creating a space for myself and then kind of creating a space for others as well, which we touched on. I would say that's helped me just kind of bring community and just kind of make me feel like I have a passion here. And then I would say on the other side, it's kind of like the media side, and it's like the more kind of professional side. I would say for that, some spaces that I've kind of just figured out or just kind of learned about or just grown into, the individualized major program, like that's helped me so much. Just kind of figure out myself, like creating my own major has evolved me so much and just kind of helped me be the trailblazer that, I feel like that was in me, but it kind of really brought it out of me, kind of just making my own major, my own curriculum. It made me just kind of hyper focus on what I want to do and kind of be passionate about it. And, everybody within that department is so helpful and just kind of want to see you thrive. Also, I did like the semester in Los Angeles program, which was just like so beneficial. And it's like I learned so much. And then like my cohort of people, like we were there during the summer and we spent like the whole summer together. We all lived together and things like that. So just kind of building a community within that of people like who have different backgrounds than me, different interests, but we all kind of came together in this one space. And so I just kind of built community with that. And I just built like partnerships and friends and networks that is kind of like lasting until this day. Like someone just kind of helped me get an internship for this summer. So just kind of little things like that within each space has helped me so much kind of thrive in like the community aspect, the professional aspect, and like the personal aspect as well.
Yeah, that is incredible. And what Chris failed to tell you is that he's also won some awards this semester. He's one of our senior award winners because of that involvement in academic pursuits. So congrats on that again.
Thank you.
That's amazing. So before we wrap up, I'd love to hear one final thought from each of you. What's one message you would want every Hoosier to hear about taking care of themselves? And I'm going to put you on the spot, Chris.
It's okay. Like, I think for me, like, I always felt guilty about, like just kind of taking time for myself. Like, if I wasn't doing schoolwork, if I wasn't doing organizational work, or if I wasn't looking for an internship or something like that, I always felt guilty. But one thing I just kind of learned, just kind of growing as a student, as a man, and things like that, it's like a necessity, like taking that time for yourself. We've spoken in like doing your morning routine, like reading that book, watching that podcast, taking that nap, scrolling on TikTok, just kind of taking that intentional time for yourself is so, 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 so important. Like, because I can tell you, like, you will burn out if you're just going go, 100%. Nonstop, hustle, grind all the time. It's like you will burn out and you will kind of create like a resentment for the things that you do. So it's just like when you create that intentional time for yourself, whether it's every day, whether it's once a week, whether it's once a month, you have to create that time for yourself, just for the betterment of not only yourself, but the people around you. So yeah, that's what I would say.
Great advice. Grace, what about you? One thing you would want Hoosiers to know about taking care of themselves?
Yeah, I mean, sitting here, I can't believe I'm graduating in a week. So I want freshmen or anyone listening to know that it does go super fast. So take things day by day, kind of like Chris said, like it'll be okay. Everything will work out. IU offers so many different clubs. Office of Student Life has so many different resources for students. So I want people to feel comfortable to get and seek the help that they need. But take that time, because you don't want to burn out and, miss out or not enjoy things because you're not taking care of yourself.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Chris, Grace, thank you. Thank you for your leadership and for being part of this really important and enriching conversation. And to everyone listening, well-being isn't something you achieve once. Clearly, it's been highlighted today on today's session that it's something that you practice every single day. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and keep building the kind of community that really makes IU special. I want to also extend a special thank you to the IU Media School for their partnership and support in bringing this podcast to life, and to our producer, Tonka Dockel. Thank you so much for helping make each episode possible. Thanks for tuning in to Crimson Chats with Dr. Hylton. Be sure to subscribe, share, and stay connected. Until next time, go Hoosiers.